Today's video, I am going to be showing you guys what rule of thirds is and why we use it and why it tends to be this kind of rule that we use, although kind of a guideline, I guess. What's up everybody, this is Ken. Oh man, honestly, what Peter does is like actually pretty hard if you try doing it yourself. I mean, I think we could do a little bit of a challenge. PM What's Up challenge.
What's up, what's up, what's up?
I'll spell it somewhere over here. And yeah, hashtag that and we'll see if that trends, because I would love to see like a huge compilation of just people trying that. It'd just be hilarious. But anyways, so rule of thirds, what actually is it? Well, rule of thirds is something that I don't know who made it, to be honest. I don't know where it originated from. But anyways, it's those grids on your screen. It's for a guideline of how you take and compose a photo. Now, this isn't the only way to compose your photography. There's many different ways. So I am going to be doing a series of how to do different types of composition so you can have it in your arsenal, but today we're talking about rule of thirds. And what you're gonna need to do is set up the grid on your actual camera. So depending on what your camera you have, you can go into your settings and just toggle on the grid, and then you're ready to go. So the grid should look something like 2 vertical lines like this, and then you're gonna have 2 horizontal lines, which kind of makes up 9 different sections or thirds, and then you can kind of use that to guide a composition depending on what you're shooting. Now, like people say, rules are meant to be broken at times, and this is one of those cases. You don't have to use rule of thirds for everything that you do, but it is something of a basic that you should learn just in case you have those times when you're out with a model and then you're just kind of like your creative juices all went away at one time and you're just like panicking. I don't know what to do. I don't want to waste this girl's time or this man's time, and you just want to go back to the basic composition technique, which can be used with rule of thirds. But having said that, breaking this is no problem, okay? You're not gonna go to jail or do anything like that, but at least when you do break the rule of thirds, you are breaking it understanding that you are doing this intentionally. Now, once you have the grid set up, you're gonna have these things called point of interest. There should be 4 points, which are the lines that intersect with each other that make a certain point. It's kind of like having crosses like this, but you have 4 of them, and those are points. And what you want to do with those points is whatever subject you're taking, you're just gonna put the center of that point, one of them, you don't have to put all of them. If all of them meet up with some other object in the actual frame that you're taking, great. But if not, if you only have one subject, you want to make sure one of those are on your subject. So in essence, it kind of makes a great composition. Now, not all the time this actually works out, but most of the time it does. And the reason why we do this is because scientifically, just due to survey and how people's eyes react to a photo, people's eyes tend to actually go to a certain area in the photo and not directly into the center unless you make the subject directly in the center. And then you can put vignette on the outside to make even more focus. So that's also just kind of editing techniques and stuff like that. But as far as just composition wise, when you are taking a photo, whether it's vertical or horizontal landscape, it doesn't really matter as long as you keep one of those points on the subject or object that you are taking in the photo. And also those horizontal lines, aside from the actual point intersections, you can actually use them to align your photo. Sometimes you might use the leveler within the camera, but then that actually sometimes doesn't work or it's too fidgety, it moves around too much. So what you can do is use those rule of thirds line to just see if your horizon is straight, so you can actually know that you are taking a somewhat level photo. All right, so I just want to hop onto my screen here, and what you're seeing is the rule of thirds guideline. Now, in this section right here, how you want to get to this in your editing program in Lightroom is you want to actually just click on the square right here, and then it's going to take you to kind of like where you can adjust the composition and you can rotate it so you can get the horizon straight, or you can use the guidelines of the rule of thirds to see if you can crop in that photo to match the rule of thirds if you couldn't do it in camera. So for example, with this photo of myself, I know, right? pretty good looking. Anyways, so what you want to do is I want to crop this because the reason why is because this point is not really at the center of my face because that's where I want to focus the composition. Now we're just going to do a before and after this as well so you can see the difference and you can see how the eye kind of gradually just goes to the subject. But this isn't too bad of a composition because if you look, the points actually end up near my neck and on my arm. So at least they're on the subject. And this is actually an okay composition. But let's say if I want that point to be directly on my face. Now this is like being really anal about something, but you know, some people are, no problem. We're just gonna go ahead and do that. So I'm just gonna crop this in and until it lands on my face. And what I'm actually gonna do is maybe about there. Now, let's say if you want to change this into vertical format for posting on Instagram. What you can do is just go into here. You're gonna go to aspect ratio 16:9. Now that's gonna put it into a horizontal format because Lightroom currently right now thinks that this photo is a landscape photo. But what you can do is just drag this point right here and then you're gonna just drag it until it becomes vertical. Now what you can do is you could just simply go all the way like so and then just move that all the way over here. Now you can kind of compose this a little bit differently to fit myself right there. And then what you do is just click off of the square and you have this composition of a photo. Now obviously I narrowed this photo so much to the point where you can't really see the landscape anymore. The hotel on the back is somewhat cut off, so I'm not sure if this is something that I would use. Now some people would be like, okay, well why don't I put the composition right in the middle? So I'll kind of compose my head in between the two lines there and then I'll just click off of it and boom. Now this is also a good photo. See, photography is just completely subjective. So if you see fit a photo that is looking really great in your mind, then that's the way it goes. But unfortunately for client work, it doesn't really go that way because clients have their own vision. So knowing these techniques and being able to adapt to it is something that makes a really good photographer and a really good visionary artist. All right, so now I'm gonna show you a different photo that I use rule of thirds on a vertical format because I post most of my photos on Instagram. All right, so here is a photo of a farmer. Now, this is actually taken right in front of my house here, and I thought that this is such an epic moment. Sunset, it's nice and like red and orange, and it was just like an epic photo, and it just casted this nice silhouette of this farmer working. Now, this is using the rule of thirds, and how I used it is once I click on here, this is how I cropped the photo. The photo was taken pretty big because I kind of want to encapsulate the entire photo just in case I did want it to crop, right? These are safety measures, but be careful. If you crop in a lot and you have a small megapixel camera, then you're gonna run into resolution issues. So just keep that in mind. If you have 50 megapixels, 60 megapixels, oh man, you are flying. No worries there. But anyways, I'm gonna show you why I cropped it this way. And as you can see right here, you see the intersection points right here. You're gonna see this point land on the farmer. And because of this, when I click off, where does your eyes go? It goes directly to the farmer, okay? So this is what I'm talking about when science says that when we look at a photo, it tends to lead to one of those points of rule of thirds. And again, this is a perfect example. I'm gonna show you another example that actually doesn't use a rule of thirds, okay? So let me show you that. All right, so this is a photo of myself, and I put myself in the center of the photo like a lot of people do. And this is totally fine. I'm breaking the rule of thirds here, but I am using these guidelines as a guideline, and I'm putting myself right in the middle of the frame. So these rule of thirds lines that you see when you put it on your camera or when you have it on Lightroom like this, it isn't always meant to put a subject on those lines or on those points. It is just a guideline. Now in this case it works because it's just me, I'm isolated, I don't have too much distractions in the photo, and my actual horizon level is below myself, so I can actually see that my subject, which is myself, is in the blue sky, and there's a lot of contrast there with the blue sky and my black shirt. And just a final example for you, I have one more photo to show you that I use rule of thirds. And some people might think this has a lot of negative space in it, but in honesty, to me, this negative space works. And I'll show you why. Let's go. So this photo right here, there's a lot of negative space right here, okay? Now these birds were put in after, okay? This is a composition photo, but yes, I replaced the sky and I put birds in there. but the person there that's sitting there and the stairs and everything on the foreground is totally what I took in the actual photo. So when I actually took this photo, I wanted to have a lot of negative space just in case I wanted to crop it, because this person was sitting right at near the rule of thirds, okay? At this time I didn't really have the grids on, so I wanted to fix it in post. Now because of that, I was actually able to go back in post and place this person right on that point right there. Now when I go back and crop that in, I have this nice photo of this person just sitting on the lower left hand side of that point, and you can see all this negative space, but it just works. Why does this actually work is because the contrast of the background and the person wearing the blue jacket actually makes a huge difference in this case, and also leaves this clear-cut definition where your eyes just lead to the subject. You wonder what this person is looking at. Why is this person sitting there? You ask all these questions. Now when you go to a photo gallery, it's the same thing. Where does your eye lead to? Next time, ask yourself that, because some of these people are using the rule of thirds and they're going back to the basics, and the basics will never die. So anyways, this is the rule of thirds video for you guys today, and hopefully you guys liked it. And if you did like it, smash that like button, turn on those notifications for future videos like this, because I will be teaching you guys the basics of photography and videography as well. So I will be doing some editing videos and all that for video, so it will be so epic. And also, if you are new to this channel, please do subscribe. I just reached 1,000 and it is so awesome, and I thank you everyone for that. And maybe I will make a 1,000 video, I'm not 100% sure, or maybe I'll just celebrate by myself with some real gold. Now, I am going to leave you guys with one thing, is to check out this video right here, is because I have gone to the dollar store and I wanted to prove a point where you can create anything with everything. So even if you have just, I don't know, a roll of tape perhaps, now these are things that you can take photos of. Now you're gonna be like, why, how, maybe I should do a video with a roll of tape and see how you can do creative photography with it. But until next time, I'll see you guys on the next one, and you guys stay creative and keep creating. All right, peace out. All right. Put all this junk over here. If you guys don't know what real gold is, y'all need to get this when you come to Japan. You get your vitamin B2s, B6, and what else? Vitamin C. 1 can a day. Man, this Clubhouse thing is so addicting. God damn.